NBC's headquarters in New York. Now, 30 Rockefeller Plaza is an Art Deco style building from the 1920s. We're going to see a lot of Art Deco buildings on the tour. However, this is not one of them. Instead of from the 1920s, this building's from the 1980s, which means it is Eco Deco, my favorite name for a style of architecture. As we head past it, though, if you look up towards the top, you can see the peacock logo up there, because NBC needs to make sure you know whose building it is at all times. Now, coming up ahead of us on your right, it's got a clock tower. It looks like two buildings connected by a bridge, because that's exactly what it is. It's the gorgeous Wrigley Building. This is a Spanish revivalist style building because it's modeled after La Giralda, the Seville Cathedral in Spain. And it was built when America was a very young country. We were bumbling around trying to find ourselves. And on this journey of self-discovery, we borrowed a lot of architecture from other countries who've been doing it a lot longer than we had, mainly European countries, because that's who we were familiar with. You can see the Wrigley Building is covered in 250,000 decorative and fireproof terracotta tiles. Each of those tiles is so delicate they must be hand washed once a year to remain looking that nice. My favorite thing about it, though, the Wrigley Building was built using William Wrigley's chewing gum fortune. So if you have ever had Wrigley chewing gum, you didn't help build that, that was already there, but you did help someone get very, very rich, and isn't that what it's really all about? And speaking of very, very rich, right in front of you is Trump International Hotel and Tower, the second tallest building in all of Chicago. This is a style of architecture known as contextualism. Contextualism is all about complementing the context, blending in with the surroundings, which is why it has its name on it, lit up in giant letters. Kidding. It's why it's got the glass face that visually connects it to the water below, as well as reflects all of these beautiful buildings around it. You might have also noticed it has 3 patio-like things or setbacks. Each setback is the same height as a building near it. So that first one, same height as the Wrigley Building. Second setback, same height as this white rocket ship-looking building right across the river. That third setback is the same height as the big black box building right next door. Now, Trump Tower was designed by Adrian Smith. That's a Chicago architect we'll talk more about later on the tour. But right now, if you're just looking up at the top thinking, I wish I could live up there, looking down on all of us peasants below, good news, you can, for the low, low price of $20 million, which is what the penthouse most recently sold for. And I know what you're thinking, that feels a little low. You're absolutely right, the asking price was $30 million. They lowered it so us regular folk could have a shot. Coolest thing about it, though, if you saw The Dark Knight at the end of that movie, Batman and Joker fighting a construction site, that was Trump Tower. It was being built at the time, so it looked incredibly different from how it does now. Now, coming up on your right, arguably the most iconic buildings on the tour, behold, Marina City, or less dramatically, the Corn Cobs. These are residential towers outfitted with parking, restaurants, offices, stores, a movie theater turned the House of Blues, and judging by this crowd, it's got exactly what you're looking for. Those buildings have yacht parking. They are a city within a city, because they were built in the 1960s, when everything around us was an industrial district. Nobody was living here. So Bertrand Goldberg, who designed those towers, wanted to draw people into the riverfront, draw them into the center of our city. You can see that yacht parking on your right. Above it, regular parking. Fun fact, that is valet parking. You are not allowed to park your own car in your own building. They just don't think you'd be skilled enough to do it, so somebody else does it for you. And Marina City was the first residential building built right on the river. It set a precedent of drawing people into the riverfront, which has continued to this day. In fact, the best example of this is on your left, the fabulous Chicago Riverwalk, which might be a little newer than you thought it was. Because this Riverwalk was originally designed on a plan for the city in 1909, but they didn't start construction on it until 2003, and it wasn't completed until 2016, so better late than never. Right behind our Riverwalk, though, we have this glass and white granite building, 77 West Wacker. This is a neoclassical style building because it combines neo, or new materials, like glass and granite, with classical styles like Greek and Roman. Because if you look all the way up there, it looks like the Parthenon, a Greek temple, is sitting on top of the building.